Prosper, Texas became a buyer's market this week, and it's one of only 4 cities in all of Dallas and Collin counties that are buyer's markets right now, and it's by far the largest. We should have already passed the peak for home prices this year, and we should also be seeing less and less new listings every single week for the rest of the year. Inventory continued to grow steadily just as it has been, around that 8,000 homes per week. Still not as quickly as we need it to grow, but much better than last year. Mortgage rates saw a small drop on Friday, and so far it's looking like we're going to have another drop today on Monday. We're covering all of this and much more in this week's market update. My name is Michael. I'm a real estate agent here in the Dallas area, and every Monday I give you a weekly update covering all of Dallas and Collin counties as well as the national market. We're looking at trends. We're tracking mortgage rates as well as mortgage purchase applications, as that's our best leading indicator to what demand will look like 30 to 90 days from now. We're looking at things like median list price, days on market, how many homes are having price decreases, what's inventory looking like, and if you stick around until the end, it's my favorite part, the top 10 ranked hottest and coolest cities and zip codes in all of Dallas and Collin counties. If this sounds like something you're into, make sure and hit the subscribe button. And if you're looking to buy or sell a home here in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. I've helped every one of these yellow dots find their little piece of Texas, and I'd love to help you too. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that info is in the description below. Okay, today is July 29th. Let's see what the data is telling us. And if this is an old video, you can click the playlist here and it'll take you to the latest weekly market update. Okay, first up, I usually do market news, but there was no real news this week. It's the end of the month. We will have some new reports coming out next week, or I guess this week, that we'll cover next week. So for this week's market news segment, I actually just wanted to talk about this comment. Every week I get some version of this comment, so I just want to shed some light on this, why it may seem this way, and I hope it's helpful. But here's the comment. You can see it's from Dr. Map. I'm assuming that's Dr. Map 5194. It says, this video is highly incorrect, especially about Plano and surrounding area. Prices are coming down. Houses are not selling even for 4 to 6 month listing. Okay, so Dr. Map is seeing evidence that homes are not selling even for 4 to 6 months. Obviously, the comment didn't have too much info, so I'm not 100% sure what Dr. Map felt was incorrect, but my assumption is it has something to do with saying that Collin County is still a seller's market. I can see why it would be confusing if your perception is houses are taking 6 months to sell and I'm telling you it's a seller's market. I can see why that would be confusing. So I want to zoom in on the data and help you understand why even if there are homes sitting on the market for 6 months or more, that doesn't change that it's a seller's market. All that means is you have a house or a number of houses that are significantly overpriced. And my goal here is to show you that you have to remove your feelings from the equation or you're going to make poor decisions. So let's start with the Collin County Market Action Index. This is what I believe Dr. Map was referring to. You can see here it says a slight seller's advantage at a 38. This is covering all of Collin County though. So in all of Collin County, the median days on market is a 42 and the average is a 64. We're going to come back to this later, so let's just look specifically at Plano. So actually in Plano, it's significantly hotter of a market. It's actually a strong seller's market all the way up at a 49. And we actually had a big jump in the median list price this week. Not that that matters, but in Plano, the median days on market is only actually 35 and the average is at 51. So Plano is actually hotter than the overall Collin County, and it's a strong seller's market. That's what the data is telling us. And this is the data. The data is not incorrect. So how can the data tell us it's a strong seller's market, but Dr. Map still be feeling like houses are sitting for 6 months? Well, let's check out some houses. And again, you have to understand if a house is sitting for 4 to 6 months in a market with 35 median days on market, that just means it's way overpriced. Plain and simple, that is the only reason. The market is literally communicating to you that nobody is going to buy this house at this price. And just because someone was willing to list the home at that price doesn't mean the price has to be anywhere within the realm of reality. People can list houses at whatever they want. Doesn't mean it's going to appraise for it. Certainly doesn't mean somebody's going to buy it. So let's look at some homes. Okay, we're looking at homes in Plano with 150 plus cumulative days on market. That means maybe they sat for 100 days and then they relisted with a new agent 30 days later. This is going to capture that and count it as cumulative days. So in total, we have 25 homes in Plano that meet that criteria. So let's take a look at this guy, 2825 Bedfordshire, listed at 565 for 2513 square feet, has more than 150 cumulative days on market. Let's see what's going on. Okay, let's start by taking a look at the house. This looks like a perfectly fine house. Okay. This is a house that should sell. So we can know the pricing is what's wrong with this house. And we'll take a look and see why Spaces like this also, yeah, spaces like this in a lot of these houses around Plano, they're kind of seen as wasted space. There are a lot of buyers who are like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all that. It's a lot of square feet, and I'm not willing to pay hundreds of dollars for every one of these square feet that I don't know how to use. So that's the only maybe negative on this one that I don't know if they accounted for or not, because I haven't looked at the pricing yet, but we're about to. But overall, this is a house that should sell. If it's not selling, it's only the price. So let's take a look at some comps specifically for this house. Actually, first, let's look at the whole story here. So what's the history of this house? So they started actually back in December of last year at $585,000. They went to $584, and then somehow they went up to $605 after 49 days. I don't have any idea why. Maybe they replaced something and felt that they could recapture that cost in the sales price. I'm not sure. Ultimately, after 122 days on market, they went all the way down to $592, $333. A very specific number. And then at 135 days on market, they canceled. That was on May 10th. They came back on at May 23rd. They came back on at 565, presumably with a new agent. So for whatever reason, they were over 600 in the first place. With this new agent, at least they were able to come down all the way to 565. Maybe they finally realized they were probably getting 0 showings at that price. So we've come down to 565, but let's see what the comps are telling us. We're gonna look at homes, 22 to 2,800 square feet. Okay, we are looking in this specific neighborhood, homes that have closed in the last 90 days. Keep in mind, we're at 565,000 for 2,500-ish square feet. So let's see, let's start down here. Okay, this one sold for 540,000, 2,549 square feet. So similar in size. Let's check the finishes. First picture could be a little brighter, I'll say that. Let's see. Great house. This is a great house. This house, I would say, is nicer than the last house right out the gate. Just looking at the living area, looking at the finishes here that they chose in the kitchen. You've got this nice warm wood here. You've got the seats matching here. This is good. It's staged nicely. Yeah, so in my opinion, right out the gate, this house should have sold for more than that other house. So we're gonna look at the numbers here. Just wanna see the rest of the house. Okay. This to me is nicer than the one listed up at 560 whatever. This house listed at 530 and it actually closed at 540. This is how you list a home. In a strong seller's market, if you list the home for what it's worth, you're likely gonna have more than one buyer offer on it. That's how you get to multiple offers. That's how they were able to get an extra $10,000. So this one sold. It's a little bit bigger than our other comp. It's a little bit nicer, and it only sold at $540,000, and it listed at $530,000. So they listed $35,000 below, even though they're larger and nicer than that other house. So you can see very clearly that's why it's sitting on the market. Okay, let's take a look at another one. This one listed at $525 and sold at $525, and it only took 13 days to sell. So they didn't get the multiple offers, but they still sold quickly. That means they priced it right. So this one's a little smaller at $2,411. I would say this is comparable to the house that's listed right now. Yep, perfectly nice house. It's a little more masculine. It would deter some buyers, but there are definitely still buyers who like this style. It wouldn't take much to get it lightened up. Nice big bathroom, nice tub. Look at that shower. Nice house. This is at least as nice as the one that's listed. Depending on the buyer, some would say this is nicer, as well as it has a pool and a spa, which again, for some buyers that's a plus, for some buyers it's actually a minus, but we can say clearly this is at least as nice as the one that's listed. And they listed and sold immediately at $525. So you can see again, it does not make sense for this house to be listed at $565. That's $40,000 more than the other house that's at least as nice and has the nice pool and spa, even though that one's a tiny bit smaller. Okay, let's take a look at one more. This one is a little smaller as well, 2,372 square feet, sold for $504,000. And look at this, it originally listed at $600. The final list price that they dropped down to is $525, and it sold for $504. So they listed at $600 and they went down to $575. They held it for a while. They came back on, dropped to $549. They had a contract that fell through. Then they dropped to $525, and they closed all the way at $504, and it took them 120 days. So what this is telling you is they should have listed in the low 500s. Instead, they chose to list at $600, and it cost them 120 days on market. But let's look at the house. It's got a nice pool as well. And it's a perfectly nice house. If this house sold for $504, there's no way the other one should be up at $565. And that's why it's been sitting on the market for as long as it has. So I hope that makes sense. Just because you see properties 5-6 months on the market, even 25 of them does not make it a seller's market. It means you have some sellers who are not willing to look at the data and trust it. And as a result, they're going to sit on market. But the point I'm trying to make here is you have to remove your emotions from the equation, or it's going to mess you up like it's doing for these sellers. As a buyer, it's going to make you miss out on a good deal. And as a seller, it's going to make you one of these homes that sits 6+ months on the market. The data is here for us to look at, and it sees way more than your eyes could ever see. So you have to trust the data. That's it. Okay, moving on. We're starting with national single-family housing inventory. This week we had a totally normal increase of 8,883 homes for sale in the country. I say normal, that's just normal for this year, not historically. We definitely need more than that historically. But this gets us up to 677,246 homes available for sale in the country. A fun fact is that this same week last year, inventory was only at 486,000. So definitely much better this year. But you can see where that line is. We're nowhere near where we need to be. For reference, the all-time inventory bottom in 2022, we only had 240,000 homes for sale. It's still hard for me to believe we ever got that low. The peak of last year, we had about 570,000 homes, and this same week in 2015, we had about 1.21 million homes for sale. So we're up more than double from the 2022 bottom, but still need to nearly double again to get to a normal market. But we're getting closer every week now, which is great. Now let's look at new listings. No surprise this week, we're still firmly between 2022 and 2023, just right here in between the two. This week we had 68,407 new listings in the US. Long story short, to get back to a balanced market, we need more people than this listing their homes. We actually need to be above the 2022 line. And then lastly, as you can see on the chart, we're trending down. This happens every year at this time. You can expect less and less new listings every week from here on out for the rest of the year, which means even though inventory can continue up, as a home buyer, you're still going to have less and less new options to choose from every single week. So if you want to be picky and you're passing on perfectly good homes right now, hoping something better is going to come up later, you're actually just going to have less new options to choose from every week starting now. Okay, now we're looking at pending sales. You can see weekly pending contract data has just been slightly above where it was last year. This week, this little blip right here is we have about 5,700 more homes pending than the same week last year, and that's national, of course. And then the last thing we cover nationally is the percentage of homes having price decreases. Every year it's normal for a third of homes to take a price cut before selling. Looking at the national chart this week, we're at 39% of homes having a price cut. Last year we got as high as 39.2%, so we're almost there. We'll probably pass that next week. And then in 2022 we got as high as 43.2%, but it's normal for this number to be increasing this time of year. It should be increasing all the way through November, so we're just going to watch and see how high we get. Okay, let's check out mortgage rates. We started out last week at a 6.89, got as high as a 6.91, so very little changes, but then on Friday we got a small drop down to 6.86. That was our lowest for the week. Then we look at the 10-year treasury to see where we're at today. So this black candle that closed down here, that's what got us to that 6.86. As you can see, we opened up even lower this week. So you can expect rates are going to be below that 6.86 today. Then regarding mortgage purchase applications, we actually saw a 4% decrease in the number of people applying for mortgages. So we're almost right back to the bottom of this range that we've been in for the majority of the year. And there is no reason to believe mortgage demand is going to grow significantly with rates this high, which is why you still see a ton of new construction offering anywhere from 4.5% to 5.99% rates. That's clearly where demand is for home buyers. So until we get down closer to and below that 6%, don't expect there's going to be this big flood of demand. Okay, before we move on to the local market data, if you're considering buying a home in the Dallas-Fort Worth area within the next year, 3 things. First off, I made a video a few weeks ago showing my top picks of where I would be buying new construction if I was moving here based on different salary ranges. So I basically cover all the way from $100K up to a $250K salary. So if you're looking to buy and you're within that salary range, make sure and watch this video. Number 2, if you don't want to go broke buying a house, I've made a home finance course just for you. We're going to examine your actual finances straight from your bank account to determine how much you can actually put towards a house every month without going broke. This course is an absolute no-brainer for anyone who wants to have peace of mind about their home purchase. And then number 3, if you're not ready to buy yet, but you want to make sure you're fully educated by the time you get there, I've made 2 courses all about the home buying process, everything you'll ever need to know. One is for new construction, one is for pre-owned homes. Choose the one that best suits you. Links to all of those are in the description below. Now we're moving on to the local market data, starting with the MLS data in Dallas County. Last week we had 519 new listings. That's 67 less than last week. 298 closings. That's 46 less than last week. Of the homes that closed, 69 were immediate sales, meaning they contracted within the first week. That's 17 less than last week. 323 went under contract. That's 19 more than last week. In total, there are 2,237 homes either under contract or in pending status. That's 13 more than last week. Now looking at Collin County, we had 434 new listings, 39 less than last week, 281 closings, 30 more than last week, 61 immediate sales, 4 less than last week, 184 went under contract, 38 less than last week, and in total there are 1,853 homes either under contract or in pending status. That's 42 less than last week. Okay, moving on to the Market Action Index, starting with Dallas County. All the Market Action Index does is takes all of this data and puts it into one easy to read graphic with a number. Anything a 30 or below is a buyer's market. Above a 30, we're asking how much of a seller's market are we in. We have a slight seller's advantage. We're at a 41 here in Dallas County. And as you can see, median list price had a decent drop back on July 5th, and it's very slowly been dropping ever since then. Median price of new listings as well, it's a very slow trend down, and that should continue for the rest of the year. Average days on market is about the highest it's been. Well, we were that high back in April, so I would say back at the top of our range. Median days on market has increased to 49. Personally, I like median over average for the very reason we covered earlier. Some houses are going to have 300 something days on market and they're never going to sell, and that's going to drag the average days up. So I like to look at the median. So median is climbing, has been there for a few weeks. Number of homes with price decreases slowly grinding up. Inventory slowly grinding up. Market Action Index slowly cooling off. So everything here looks totally normal. The market should be cooling off through the rest of the year. Even though we have a rate cut coming up, it's not going to be huge. It's going to be like a 0.25%. And again, the real buyer demand is not going to come in until we're under 6%. So I personally don't expect that first rate cut is going to bring a big flood of demand in. I still think the market's going to keep cooling off, just like it does every year in a normal market. And I also want to say that's the goal of the Fed. The goal of the Fed is to get to a normal market. No more of this whiplash, prices are going up, prices are going down. No more of that crazy stuff. They're going to do it as gradually as they can. We're just going to be trending towards a normal market. You're not going to feel these big swings anymore, I don't think, and I hope. But looking at Collin County's Market Action Index, they are obviously cooler than Dallas, only by a few points. They are at a 38, slight seller's advantage. Their median list price as well, just slowly grinding down. The median price of new listings, though, is holding a little more firm. Average days on market, a small climb. Medium has been holding firm at 42. Again, that's the number I like more. Number of homes having price decreases. It went up quicker than Dallas, but it's definitely, at this point, it's slowing down. It's decelerating its climb. Inventory slowly grinding up. Market action slowly grinding down. Totally normal market for this time of the year. Which brings us to our final segment here. These are the hottest and coolest top 10 rank charts of the cities and zip codes in all of Dallas and Collin counties. And these are ranked using that same Market Action Index number we just looked at. Remember, a 30 or below is a buyer's market. The absolute hottest city remains Carrollton, Texas at a 59.64, followed by Ferris, which had a big jump the last couple of weeks, and it's all the way to number 2. I believe this is the highest it's ever been, but you can see it's shooting up. So Ferris, Texas takes over number 2 for the first time. Louisville cools off 1. Plano heats up 2. Again, Plano is a strong seller's market. Coppell heats up 2. Lancaster cools off 3. Richardson heats up 1. Duncanville heats up 2. Garland remains at number 9. And Grapevine has been cooling way off, and it cools a huge 5 spots this week, from 49.32 all the way down to 45.91. So Grapevine is cooling off fast. Now we like to zoom in specific zip codes. The absolute hottest, no surprise, Carrollton 75005. It's all the way up to a 67.13. It's way higher than the rest of the market. The next closest is almost 10 points below. And that's Louisville 75067, then Carrollton 75010, Dallas 75244, Plano 75075, Ferris 75125, Plano 75023, Carrollton 75006, Hutchins 75141, and Grand Prairie 75050. Now we're looking at the same thing, but for the coolest markets, for those of you who may be looking for a deal, the absolute coolest remains Van Alstyne at a 27.41, followed by Leonard, which cools off 1, Sunnyvale heats up 1, and Prosper remains at number 4, but officially becomes a buyer's market this week. It finally falls below a 30. So all 4 of these are the buyer's markets that we have. Followed by Rockwall cools off 1, Lavon heats up 1, Salina remains, Blue Ridge jumps on at number 8, Anna heats up 1, and Royce City heats up 1, and Whitewright went from the hottest city to getting knocked off the list this week. Then looking at the zip codes, the absolute coolest, Van Alstyne 75495, Leonard 75452, Sunnyvale 75182, Prosper 75078, Mesquite 75181, Dallas 75205, Rockwall 75087, Lavon 75166, Rockwall 75032, and Dallas 75211. As always, if you are looking to buy or sell in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. Call, text, or shoot me an email. All that info is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.